morning, everybody. It is September 23rd, 2024. Favorite time of our week because it's Mondays with Bev and Paul. And hi, everybody. My name's Paul.
Good morning.
Oh
Here we
my
are again.
God, we are
Together
here 2
again.
weeks in
2
a
weeks
row.
in a row. Wow.
It doesn't get better than that when you can
Tell-
sit right next to your co-host and
Yep.
rub
Just
whatever these are
do
here.
that. Yep.
Hey, everybody, we're going to have a great little show today because we're going to talk about hope, Hope, and how it relates to biotouch. And I'll tell you how I even came up with the idea for this one. It came through, I was listening to this quote from some guy doing a teaching. He was a teacher, and he goes, "Hope is for those who are unable to live in the moment." And I think he was basing it off of, we looked that up on what it means in the dictionary, and I think there's that newer meaning of hope is a feeling of expectation and desire for a certain thing to happen.
Ooh.
But then we started talking about it and thinking about how does that relate to biotouch, and we decided it relates to the archaic definition,
Right.
which is a feeling of trust.
Oh man. Well, for one thing, the old, I'll just call it the other definition of it in the dictionary, that feeling of expectation. That just goes against what we have been saying, that biotouch, because when you practice it, what we say is, well, there is no expectation in biotouch.
Right.
You're released from all of that need to worry about what's the outcome, what's the results, and any guarantees. You know, we go on into that whole thing. So that just right off the bat, just kind of like, well, that's not what happens with biotouch.
Right.
Because we do talk about being in the moment. We know that biotouch does that. And frankly, if you're all worried about an expectation, then everything else is kind of blocked, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think we could start this off. Well, one of the greatest lessons I had about how biotouch brings hope to our life, our healing, was that young couple. They were in their 20s. The young man, mid-20s, had a brain tumor. He'd had it for a couple of years. By the time we met him, he really couldn't write, couldn't speak very well, and his wife brought him in, and we started working with him, and lo and behold, he was able to start writing, and was feeling a lot better, and they were having a much more open relationship, so much so that they decided they could go on a trip.
Ooh,
So we
yeah.
taught her the few things to do, and they went on this trip. I think it was at least a week, 10 days long.
Mm-hmm.
And they came back, and he slowly started to deteriorate, and finally ended up in hospice. And we went and worked with him. We set up a schedule. So one of us went in the morning, one of us went in the evening, and they were also doing lots of other healing techniques,
Yeah.
a lot of prayer circles, a lot of energy works, all kinds of other techniques. And we would go work with him, and out of all the techniques, when you would do biotouch with him, just that greeting, there would be, from him in a coma, he would be in a coma, there would be a huge sigh, just this, and
Wow.
never happened with any of the other techniques, especially the
interesting.
off-the-body techniques. And the short of the story was he ended up passing on, and we went to, a couple of us went to the memorial service,
Yeah.
and afterwards she came up to us and went, out of all the techniques we did, biotouch was the one that gave us hope.
That's what we need to talk about.
Yes. Yes.
What do you think she was? Because he wasn't hoping that he was going to get well.
No.
He knew he was not. They both knew he was not. They weren't, oh, we hope that he gets better, because they already knew that was again. So what do you think she was telling you
Right.
about that?
Yeah, it's always been
Hope.
Yeah, it was, and so to me was always about that. It helped them live in the present moment. It helped them suck the marrow of life, for the moments that he was alive.
Yeah.
He was able to live
It's
in the
about
present.
the quality, isn't
Yes.
it? About the
Yes.
quality of that, whatever time was left for them. BioTouch really helped them to, I don't know, raise up. And what happens when we are trusting? Because that archaic hope it's a trusting, and we've talked about that many times. There's something about trusting the process, something about trusting that there is unlimited possibilities, and that leads to, there's a hope that this just isn't it.
Right.
That this isn't the end of it. This is not all there is to me.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
And I think that's a key that BioTouch brings us into. The minute you take those two fingers and even just do the greeting,
Oh, yeah.
that greeting puts you in that present moment and gives you that moment to understand what you just said. There's something more.
Yes.
There's something greater than, as I do this radiation, I'm constantly saying, I'm not a body, I am free, I am still as God created me, I am loving awareness. And BioTouch helps us live in that mantra, whatever your mantra is.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Those are
right.
just words.
Yeah.
But
right.
BioTouch is the wordless teaching almost.
Ooh, ooh. I'm liking
There we
that
go.
one. Okay, write that one down.
You don't need words. You don't need expectations.
No.
You just do the BioTouch and you let the body unfold its story in relation to whatever it is that's dwelling within this.
He says that, I'm going to read this again, that hope is for those who are unable to live in the moment. That is a very difficult thing for all of us to do on a perpetuated daily rhythm. To live in the moment, that's very, very hard to do. But our message in this is that BioTouch offers all of us the opportunity to be able to experience that it really is possible to live in the moment, at least when two people are present with each other. I don't know, it's just like, if I'm present in the moment with myself, that's one thing. But being present and being able to feel safe,
yes,
to trust, to have hope that there's more to me than what my little ego is perceiving right now in this healing journey, that is a gift beyond, I can't even believe. And every time that you have someone step up to you and put those two fingers and give you that greeting, you are being offered really an kind of a out of body type of thing, that really, in that self-awareness, I think that's a key that we talk about all the time, the self-awareness of the moment, because you have to be conscious that you are right now experiencing something that has no expectation, has no end result. There is nothing of that. It has no ego in it. It's just this pure, loving moment of being conscious, being aware.
Yeah, and it reminds me too, this word, the archaic term, a feeling of trust.
Yeah.
And I always remember Louis, who used to tell us, trust that you are loved.
Yeah.
Just trust that you are loved.
Right.
This is not something you have to go get.
Right.
It's not an expectation for the future. Trusting you are loved is about living that present moment. And BioTouch, and he always used to say, BioTouch, when you put those two fingers lightly on somebody, was calling to the body of like, it's okay, follow me.
Oh, man.
And who's the me? That love. It's just that simple love in that present moment.
So you and I were having a little bit of a discussion before, and I kind of had a aha moment. But what came to me at the end of that whole inner dialogue with myself is that something that you and I touched on before, that you just said it, we don't have to go look for the love. we are love. It's already there. The key is, if you're living in that moment, in that present moment that is filled with trust and hope and self-awareness, what we are able to do with BioTouch is kind of step out of the way of that which is already present, love, our nature, our innate, and let that is loving ourselves. That is not, oh, I need to learn how to do this. I need to love myself more. I don't love myself enough. You don't, that's a moot point.
Right.
The love is already present. The issue is stepping out of the way. That is what BioTouch lets us do in that moment, to step away and just be what we truly are. Just be present with the love that's already there within us. That's where it begins.
Yeah. And it begins with you out there in La La Land, taking
the
those,
whole planet.
Yeah, right. You know, just learning. Again, if you just want to learn the greeting, you know, the greeting. You take the index and the middle finger of your dominant hand, touch somebody next to you or practice on yourself. Find that point that's just below the breastbone. It's in that soft tissue area. Touch there lightly for 6 to 8 seconds. That's all there is to that point one. And there's a second point by taking that same hand, and if you feel behind your neck and you go down to the bottom of the neck, lean your head forward, a big bone pops out, and you go to the left of that about 1 inch to 1.5 inches, again, lightly like a butterfly. That's the greeting. Now, BioTouch is one person touching another. There's where the real manifestation of hope and,
you know what I always think
loving
about
your
that
neighbor is.
definition? It's almost like, okay, children, you've been separated enough, and now here's BioTouch saying, no longer do we do this self this and this self that. You guys are connected. We're going to offer you an opportunity to experience and express that connectedness between each other. You have to do it together.
Right.
We're forcing us to come into relationship with each other and not, there's you and there's me.
Right.
BioTouch is a relationship of healing. What does that infer? Equality.
Yes.
The giver and the receiver equally. That's what love can start to do and healing. Yeah.
So please practice it. Take it, use it, bring it into your home, bring it into your family, bring hope to the planet. You know, and I'll tell you, there's probably not a better time in humanity's most recent history than we could use some hope right now.
Right now.
Yes.
And I think we have to trust that together we are able to really, as a group, rise above what we're being faced with right now.
Yes.
That's something that we can lift into hope about. That there's more to us than what we are seeing right now.
So go to justtouch.com. You can get all the information you need there. Send us an email, office@justtouch.com. Learn some of the techniques. We have a great workshop coming up Thursday. It's on insomnia with the CompleteSleepSolution.com, Martha Lewis. And she has some really good information, especially I listen to it now about the cortisol levels.
Oh, here we go again, guys. I know. It's like there's this pattern,
you know,
right?
So if you want some hope, in dealing with your issues, most issues, it seems, goes back to our cortisol levels, our stress levels, of which if you just wake up in the morning, and probably for many of us, we sleep in stress.
Yes.
You know, and so BioTouch gives us the hope, because how do you relieve stress? I mean, without having to do the meditation and the breathing exercises and the bringing in the energy and the moving of the energy, how do you live in the present moment? I'm telling you, take those 2 fingers, touch another human being, let them touch you for that moment.
Right.
You're in the present moment.
If you can do that in one moment, you can do it. You can do it whenever.
Right.
We can do it more.
Yes.
Yes, if it's possible.
So, more is better in this situation.
Yeah. Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Anyhow, we're here every Monday because we have hope in BioTouch.
We do.
Getting it out to the people.
Trust and hope in
Yes.
BioTouch, yeah.
So please join us in this journey and join us every Monday with Mondays with Bev and Paul. And we're going to give you a little hope song from Horace Barnes, who gives us all of our little ditties here. And we'll see you all next week.
Have a great week,
care, everybody.
everyone.
If pain has got you down and you live in town, take a trip down to Pima Street. The people down there are people who care. They will get you back on your feet. Put love into action. Put love into action. If you ever want to have any real satisfaction, choose love while you still can. Don't even try to understand. A healing grace in your own hands. Put love into action.